Here we are in a course, and I have set some team meetings links up in a folder in this Schoology course. This video is mainly for secondary educators, and I want to really begin exploring a couple tools in Microsoft Teams that you may or may not have had some time to explore. And I hope that this might provide you some inspiration on how we could break students up into groups and still allow them to collaborate and communicate over Microsoft Teams. Okay, I know we have secondary teachers facing a unique situation where you're either teaching brick or click, or perhaps a combination of those two simultaneously. So I know a lot of us are facing some tremendous challenges right now, trying to wrap our minds around how this can work. I really hope that this video offers you some support and offers you some inspiration. We're going to go into this folder called Small Group Links, and I want you to see I've set up a table for these generic groups, Group A, B, C, and D. They each have their own Microsoft Teams link. So let's set the stage a little bit. We have met as a class over Teams. That could be a full click class, or it could even be a combination brick click at the same time. I did that today at South Middle School. I was facilitating a learning experience with about 20 teachers in a large room in front of me, and then I had a number of teachers also join via Microsoft Teams. But we were all able to be a part of the same learning experience at the same time. I didn't use this method, but I want to provide you this and maybe have a conversation about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So again, set the stage. We've provided some instruction, whole group, and we've had an experience. I don't know what that experience is, but we've had a valuable learning experience. We really prioritized that face-to-face time. We considered the verbs and what we're asking students to do during that face-to-face time. And we made it a valuable, high-quality experience. Now it's time to break out and allow students to work on some tasks. We want them to be able to collaborate with their groups, have conversations. Here we go. So I would assign them into these groups, and then at the designated time, I'd say, at this point, students, we're going to break out into our groups, and I want you to work on your assigned tasks. Group A would come here and select the link. This would be Group B, C, and D. Let's go over to Microsoft Teams. I want you to see on my screen. This is how Teams works. I have access to all these chats, even if I'm not in the meeting. So I don't have to join any meeting to view the chat as it's occurring in live fashion. In addition to the chat, every team meeting that's generated, every team meeting has meeting notes. And my students would use this meeting notes section to collaborate around the activity and have a conversation about that task that I've assigned to them. You see that Group A is taking notes about the 1960s. That's the era that we're studying in class right now. Jennifer said she appreciated the reference to Forrest Gump because it's one of her favorite movies. They would begin typing more notes. They could create a new section of notes. They could use bullets and edit their notes here. They could drop in files. You'll see that one of the groups, I don't think it's this one, but let's look at Group B. What do you think about the story from Mississippi? Somebody asked. Let's go to their meeting notes. And they're taking notes on the Ole Miss riot of 1962. Let's look at Group C. Group C, somebody said, let's try to answer the first three questions. Who's going to do the speaking? So they're already talking to each other over the chat. And understand, they would have joined that meeting. So they could audibly talk to each other. Now, I wouldn't hear that unless I have actually joined the meeting. But I can watch the chat come in live, and I can access their meeting notes. Look here. They've lined up the questions in their notes. We think racial tension in Tennessee at that time led to ... Question 2, I put this in ahead of time. The philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi led to, and then Isaiah thinks, Jeff thinks, and they would, since this is editable by everyone that's signed into K-12, Isaiah would begin typing right here. Jeff would begin typing right here. Hannah typing right here. And they would input their response so they're ready to talk about it when we meet again as a whole group. Question 3, says Julie will present our collaborative PowerPoint. We will alternate who speaks. So I bet their PowerPoint is located under the files. So I could open up that PowerPoint. It's editable and collaborative by these group members and see what they've contributed to their project. Group D says we're going to leave some notes here for Mr. Oldfield. Let's look over our collaborative PowerPoint first. So if I look under Files, their PowerPoint is there. I could open their PowerPoint. I'm sure each of them has been assigned certain slides. If we look at their meeting notes, we can see that Trent's speaking on slides 1 through 3, Brandy 7 through 9, etc. And then they say that if they're not speaking, the others will monitor the chat for questions or feedback. This is how some of this small group conversation, collaboration could occur over Microsoft Teams. I'm going to stop here. I want you to just absorb what you've seen, rewind and watch it again if you need to. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Reach out. I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you.